My love, people are out here lying to us about marriage, but not me. In this video, I'm gonna get into several things that nobody told me about marriage. I kind of had to figure these things out by myself. I don't want that to be the case for you. These are foundations that I tried to build when Ahmed and I were still dating. So regardless where you are in your relationship, you'll want to pay attention. The first mistake that I honestly almost made in my relationship was to make Ahmed my everything person. Don't get me wrong, it's so great when you can find a partner who can watch reality TV and then can wake up early and go to the gym with you and then can go to a coffee shop and write in his planner with you. Like, I was able to strike gold with those three things that I listed. But there were certain kinds of conversations that I just wasn't getting from Ahmed when we were dating. And it made me go into this spiral of anxiety of like, is it bad that my husband doesn't talk about everything that I want to talk about? Is it bad that he doesn't like everything that I like? I realized that I was just putting so much pressure on him to be the everything person for me. Once I realized that I was doing that, it kind of connected to something that I'd always been advised about, which is to make sure that your friendships stay very strong and active even in your marriage. So this kind of goes hand in hand with that. Like, if you're trying to put pressure on this person to replace everyone in your life, that's very unrealistic. And not only is that unrealistic, you're giving no room for those other relationships. If you have friends that you go and play volleyball with, then you don't need to take your husband with you. Like, it's good for you to pour into those friendships. It actually helps create a stronger relationship when you can have a girls' night, or when you can, go out to eat with your friends and talk about something that you don't typically talk about with your partner. Every time Ahmed and I spend time apart, whether it's with our friends or traveling, we come back together and we have so much to update each other on. And honestly, he is a lot more social than I am. He is the extrovert of the relationship. And I can say firsthand, watching him have such strong bonds with his friends, like these are friends that he's had since college, it makes me respect him more. Like, I like that. I like that I get to see that side of him, the person that his friends know him as. It just adds more texture to the relationship, and it's just a lot healthier to not be dumping everything on this person and to not be expecting this person to be everything for you. Now, these next couple things are involving the family, because as we all like to say, when you marry someone, especially in my culture, you're not just marrying them, you really are marrying the family. I knew instinctively how to maneuver these things, but I just don't think people talk about these dynamics enough. You should make it clear to your partner that when you want to vent or talk shit about someone in your family, or even a close friend that feels like family, their job is to sit and listen and, if appropriate, play devil's advocate. I cannot describe how it makes me feel when, let's say, the woman is talking to her husband about her mom. That's her mom. She can express those feelings, right? But for him to pile on and to have negative opinions about her mom and express that to her, to me, that's a big no-no. Not just because of the mom, like the mom's not in that conversation. Maybe she'll never find out about that conversation. But when I'm expressing things to my husband about my family or about my friends, I want him to play the role of trying to keep me close to those people. And he's always known this, thank God. Like, I never had to actually teach him this specific lesson. We'll get to that in a second. But it makes me feel so safe that I have somebody in my life who values my external relationships just as much as I do. He wants to keep me close, and vice versa goes. If he ever came and talked to me about people in his life that he loves, I would never pile on. Even if I had the same opinion, like, I would keep that to myself. There's no point in me telling him that I agree with him, because he's not coming to me to be upset about that thing. He's actually coming to me to seek counsel, even if that comes in the form of anger at the beginning. At the end of the day, even them venting is their way of expressing hurt or pain with the ultimate goal of bettering that relationship. You will actually make them feel that they're betraying the people that they love if you pile on. You will actually de-incentivize them to come to you in the future about those things, because you'll make them feel like they need to protect the relationships in their life from you. It's not a vibe. It's not a good move. You need to have more discernment in that space. This brings me to what I like to call the layison rule. When you have a conflict with your partner's family, let's say they did something that was offensive, let's say they said something that hurt you, whatever it is, you are not to approach the family. Don't do that, okay? Have your partner be the liaison. Confide in your partner and bring it up in a more neutral way, not in an emotionally charged way if you can avoid it. Every time we come over, your mom does this to me. I just want you to know. And mind you, like, I'm not telling you to invalidate your feelings. I would only recommend bringing this up to your partner if it's something that's like actively hurting you. Like if it's something that bothered you one time, but it's probably not going to happen again, there's really just no point in bringing it up because you're going to cause strife in relationships that you should care about. If it's something that is actively happening, like let's say you have a child and your in-laws are smoking in front of the kid and that makes you feel understandably very stressed out every time you come over, it is in your best interest to talk to your spouse and have them approach their parent, have them approach their family or their friends. The parent or the family or the friends might be slightly offended if their family member brings it up, but they'll forgive that person. They might feel 1% uncomfortable if it's coming from their son or their brother. But if you were the one to bring it up, it would feel a lot more icky. I think it's a lose-lose situation. You might win that little battle, but you are ultimately losing the war. And part of maintaining a healthy relationship with your partner is making sure that the relationships in their life can also be healthy and thriving. You don't want to be that person that's confrontational and making their family feel like you don't like them or you have an issue with them or you don't want to come over. Like that's just not the vibe. Look, this might not be relevant to everybody. I'm also raised in a culture where respect is just so important. There are these boundaries that are just kind of unspoken that need to be adhered to in the case that nobody's actually harming you physically or harming your safety, of course. I think a big misconception that I had coming into marriage was that it's not my job to teach him how to love me. It's not my job to teach him how to take care of me. And this is another issue I have with a lot of the relationship advice that I think is well-meaning, but is just a little bit naive in my opinion. I'm not saying that you need to teach a man how to respect you. I don't think you need to ever teach anyone how to respect you. I do think there is a lot of value in guiding someone on how you best receive love. In fact, I think it is really childish to assume that somebody knows how to love you the way that you spent 20 plus years learning how to love yourself. Why would they just automatically have that information? There are infinite ways to show somebody love, and certain ways resonate more with you and other ones don't. And I'm not saying that you need to settle. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying have very high expectations. Yes, have the desire for princess treatment, queen treatment, in my opinion, is even better than princess treatment. Like all of that is fine. But to just expect him to know what that looks like for you is setting yourself up for disappointment. I have, in many cases, guided Ahmed on how to show me love best. If you are with somebody who has an intention and has shown you an intention and has put effort behind it to love you and to show you that love consistently, then redirecting that intention is fine. The problem is when you want queen treatment and you're asking someone intent on giving you peasant treatment. If you have someone who wants to give you queen treatment but just doesn't actually know what that looks like for you, then there's nothing wrong with teaching them how to do that. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I love that you order me flowers every week. I don't actually really like flowers like that, but what I would prefer is for every time I come pull up to the car, you open the door for me. What I would prefer is that you take me shopping. What I would prefer is that in front of other people, you give me words of affirmations. Whatever it is, regardless how random or ridiculous it is, the more specific and scenario-based you can be, the better. From my experience, anyone who has the intention to show you love will accept that feedback with open arms because you are making their job, I don't want to say easier, but you are making it more clear. You are letting them know that their efforts will not be misguided. You're letting them know that if they channel their efforts in this specific way, they will always get the reaction from you that they're also looking for because they're wanting to show you that they love you. So yes, you can teach somebody how to love you effectively. Every single human being on this planet has different communication styles. I would even argue that even a singular human being has different communication styles depending on where. The way I communicate at work in my 9 to 5 is very surprisingly concise and direct. I'm out here just talking on YouTube, and in my personal life, I'm very not concise. Like I just like to self-express. At work, I'm very direct. I don't like to beat around the bush. I don't like to spend a lot of time talking. Communication styles are just important in general. But when it comes to conflict, a tool that I found a few years back is actually made by the same creator who made the 5 love languages. And it's called the apology language quiz. Who even knew that that was a thing? Apparently, there are certain different styles of apology that will or will not resonate with you. I really recommend just taking that quiz because it helped clarify for me why certain people in my life felt like they were apologizing to me, but why I never felt apologized to. And it's because my apology language is very specific. I don't even care if you say you're sorry. I don't care if you tell me how you're gonna make it up to me. I just want you to say you're wrong. I don't know if that's the petty in me. Like, I need you to own up to it. I don't care about what you're gonna do next time. I don't care about how sorry you are. I want you to take ownership for where you went wrong. This was so important in helping me to resolve some of my personal life conflicts, but especially in my relationship. Like, Ahmed knows I need to hear from him that he was wrong when he did a certain thing, even if it was not intentional. I think that's the piece that annoyed me so much, is like people focus so much on intentions. I don't care about your intentions as much. If I'm with you, then I've decided you have good intentions. So that's not what I'm not thinking that you intentionally did something to hurt me, but I want you to acknowledge that you hurt me because you were wrong. His apology language is also so important for me to know. So if I do something wrong, let's say we were invited out to eat. This might be a real life scenario. And I'm making us late because I'm getting ready and we were supposed to leave the house by 6 o'clock and it's 6:15 and we haven't even gotten in the car and there's gonna be traffic. Like, that was a realistic scenario. Ahmed doesn't just wanna hear that I'm sorry. He doesn't just wanna hear that I messed up and I was wrong. He wants to hear from me what I will do next time to not put us in this situation. So I know now that when I'm apologizing to him, I'll say, next time I'll make sure my makeup is done earlier in the day so all I have to do is put clothes on. I'm really sorry, da-da-da-da-da. Like, that is what he needs. And even if that's not my natural style of apologizing, who cares? I love him. And so I want him to feel apologized too. So I will add that extra sentence so that he actually feels like I've apologized to him. I think a common thread in some of these is this myth that we should be treating other people the way we want to be treated. I want you to take that quote and just dump it in the archives or trash bin of your brain. That is the worst advice. That is the laziest relationship advice. That is the laziest advice for anyone in your life. It's not just like romantic relationships. You should not treat people solely based off of how you want to be treated. That is such a bad assumption. More likely than not, people have their own preferences of how they want to be apologized to, how they want to be loved, how they want to be left alone in a conflict maybe. Marriage, especially, and relationships in general, are about learning that person, having the humility to learn that person and get to know them and what they need. And from there, decide how you're going to treat them based on what they tell you they need and they show you they need. Not based on what you think makes sense because that's how you like things to be done. That's very selfish and that's not what it looks like to be in a relationship. But with that being said, it's an ongoing thing, dude. Like, we are changing. We're all changing by the day. Like, the thing that I needed last year is not what I need today. The thing that I need today as a young woman without any kids is going to be vastly different than the version of me who has a newborn. As someone who is constantly getting to know myself, I found that what works the best for us, at least, is just constantly letting him in on my updates, my personality updates, my preferences. And personally, that's been the most fun part about a relationship. It feels like this ever evolving thing. It's not stagnant, it's not rigid, it's not set in stone. It's something that absolutely requires work, but it's also one of the most rewarding things. And the work that you put in, I believe, in a healthy relationship, you will get back tenfold. Let me know if you have any questions about these or anything that these brought up for you. This was so much fun. I want to make more videos like this because I really want you to learn either from my mistakes or from things that I kind of learned on my own. I love you so much, and as always, stay powerful, my love.